The terror you have just seen was caused by science fiction. Everything else in this motion picture that you will see is science fact. The phenomena you are about to witness could well revolutionize your way of thinking. We are presenting startling facts and evidence that take up where other explanations leave off. Some of these revelations may very well go against things you have been taught and perhaps believed all your life. Prepare yourself for the evidence which will follow. The producers accept no responsibility for any mental trauma caused by the contents of this motion picture.
I was looking for that helicopter or whatever the hell that was. You guys going somewhere, but
damn, where'd it go? It's right there. It's right there. Somebody is walking on the mother freaking clouds.
Something is walking on them clouds.
What is that?
It's a body. Look.
It showed this. That's a person. That's crazy. We're not supposed to see that. We're not supposed to see that. Something gonna happen.
Y'all sleep.
Are the foods modified? Tomato, potato, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, almost all the basics are, purposely. And as you know, they have a terminator seed now too.
Yes.
Because the farmers can't plant seed, you can't plant seed now unless you buy it from the government. They come up one season and they're gone, which means they're already modified. Watermelons down here with seedless watermelons. I wouldn't even touch a watermelon with no seeds out. But if you breathe, what are you going to breathe? You can't call it air anymore. We breathe something that is overtaxing our body with toxins that we're trying to get through the day on. We have chemical sprays being sprayed over 245 major cities in the United States, and all over our planet now is an electronic metal smog. And I can tell you why that's done too. We have these Gwyn towers that they have erected, which are also perpetrating that continual thing. We have HAARP programs, High Frequency Active Aurora Research Project. We have ELATA over in Russia, electrified atmospheric discharge. We have ISACAT, European scatter radar manipulation. All these things are broadcasting billions, I didn't say millions, combined billions of watts of amperage of ionic electrified air particles into the air. We are breathing now titanium, aluminum, barium, non-human T cells, all kind of other things that's being sprayed from ships that aren't supposed to be there. So you have metal particulation in your system. You have electrified air, which is poisonous in your system. And then whatever else that the smokestacks and the exhaust from cars are there too. Unless you can clean that out, your body's not only going to age very quickly, the cells are going to deteriorate, and you're not going to function on the heights you should be. That's why most people are running around I call them comatose, dumbed down, brainwashed, vaccinated, inoculated, and encrypted. Any two of which makes you unusable to a society that's trying to develop.
Heard those names before. But encrypted is
chipped. You go to the wrong, shouldn't say this on TV, let's put it away, wrong lab that's making a prosthetic device, whether it be from your teeth or leg, they probably put a chip in, unless you're very careful. The food you eat is probably encrypted. If you have any vaccinated, you are encrypted. If you're in armed services, you're encrypted. They're trying to control a whole populace, and this is the best way to do it. Anytime anybody invades underneath your skin, 9 times out of 10 now you're encrypted. If you're not encrypted, you're probably mind controlled. There's so much going on now, Doc. I sound like I am psychotic. I'm not. And I'll never say I'm crazy. I'm neurotic. My neurosis grows with the psychotic behavior of people and the apathy of people, the ennui of people who don't seem to understand what's going on. That's frightening to me. Because we're a planet trying to come under control. We're a populace, black and white, brown and yellow, that is under mind control, dying right off the bat, being experimented with, and we still don't get it. Those who have been dumbed down, comatose, brainwashed, inoculated, vaccinated, encrypted, any two of which takes them out of a usable society at this time, can't understand that. So they will fight the masters' wars, they will fight the globalist wars, they will take the globalist shots, they will let the globalists in the state raise their children, and we all sink. But the point is, again, the globalists are on their way out. That's why they're acting so crazy, but you watch my words. Their time is short. Consciousness is long.
His connection might have languished had it not been for Raymond Brown, a San Diego physician and adventurer. He believes he has found conclusive links between a Caribbean civilization and those of Egypt and Central America. Dr. Brown's story begins uneventfully on an expedition out of Miami in 1970. Here, recreated, Dr. Brown was headed for an area between Andros Island and the Berry Islands, approximately 100 miles from Bimini. His intention was not to prove or disprove stories about Atlantis, but rather to search for sunken treasure.
We've been searching the area for a number of years for Spanish galleons, and had found several and taken some of the treasure, and we were very excited when we found this area.
They traveled to a spot near the tongue of the ocean. There, the bottom drops to 14,000 feet. Dr. Brown hoped that a recent storm might have shifted bottom sand in order to reveal the galleons.
The water was very murky, and we didn't get to see all that we would like to have seen. But after the storm moved the sand for us that we'd been digging on for several years unsuccessfully, we found ruins and buildings everywhere.
Much of Dr. Brown's photographic equipment was destroyed in the storm, thus making it impossible for a detailed record of the find.
We really had no choice, because if we had gone back for new equipment that we lost during the storm, if we hadn't got in the water, even as murky as it was, the sand would have covered the buildings up and we would have lost the view.
The ruins of the city Dr. Brown claims he found reflected a sophisticated level of architectural design.
The buildings had somewhat of an Egyptian or classic look to them. The ground mass was rippled, as though the area had been dropped into the ocean by some sort of cataclysmic action.
Then Dr. Brown reported that he came across the most magnificent find of all. In the murkiness, he spotted the tip of a submerged pyramid, barely visible above the ocean floor.
Looking at the structure, shape, and the size, it would be approximately 400 feet tall. I went in an opening, and in this opening, in the center of the room, there was a pedestal, and on the pedestal were two human hands made of brass or bronze, and in the center of the hands was the crystal. My first impression in the room was the shaft that was metallic, hanging straight down from the ceiling, pointing at the crystal, and it was gold colored. I swam, because it was still, the room was full of water, I swam up to the ceiling and tried to pry the rod loose. It wouldn't budge, so I settled back down to the floor, and I reached my hand in between the fingers of the metal hands, and I found the crystal was loose, and it was the only thing in the room that I could take home.
The crystal ball seems to possess powers that can repel a coiled stainless steel rod.
We found a meter with a 1.5 ounce weight, and it becomes sensitive to emanations, particularly magnetic emanations around people or things if they are charged. And we find that if we can hold it straight without allowing it to flip from side to side, some strong influences will actually raise the weight in the air. Now, as we bring something into the field of the crystal, the ions tend to repel. If I can keep it balanced and bring it directly into the field and not let it tip from side to side, the weight will then not go to the side if I can keep it centered, and it will, as I come higher, it will raise it and make it weightless and actually float in the air.
Some historians say that crystals were the source of Atlantean power. Dr. Brown believes his crystal is evidence that such a culture existed and possessed powers unknown to modern man.
Maybe the ancients knew more than we did about life forms and life forces, and we might discover their secret.
In the last decade of exploration in the waters off Bimini, new finds cause us to question old theories. Atlantis has long been thought of as a myth, a figment of fanciful imagination, a tale told by Plato to amuse ancient Athens. But what of Dr. Brown's crystal? Dr. Marcel Vogel, a researcher at IBM, has devoted more than 20 years of investigation to determine the power of crystals and their effect on human potential.
Throughout history,
the earliest recorded history we have, there's been a deep respect for the shape of a ball and the use of a quartz crystal ball for probing in the mind of an individual. Now, I've worked with Dr. Brown's crystal ball. I used his ball, and I felt a tremendous energy burst coming from the crystal.
The discovery of the crystal has spawned speculation that possible misuse of its powers by Atlanteans caused the Great Cataclysm. The island and all its buildings, it is said, were plunged into the sea. The Bimini Wall, therefore, might be the last visible relic of that lost civilization. Divers have always searched for hidden treasures of the sea. In the waters off Bimini may lie the clues that not only unlock the mystery of Atlantis, but the secrets of the mind as well. For the present, however, we must content ourselves with the inconclusive bits of evidence so far uncovered. The origin of the Bimini Wall seems destined to remain an enigma until more knowledge about Atlantis is revealed.
I have an online tone generator set to 528, which is developed by Thomas P. Sinelski. Thank you, Thomas. I notice here it can be used for science experiments. I would say so. Go ahead and play that. So here 528 tone there. I'm going to stop it before anything happens. Up here I also have another tone generator set to 525, and I'm about to show you what will happen with that. Things happen much quicker when you're using pure tones rather than the other stuff I was using on YouTube, which had like sounds mixed in with it. There we go. 528. And already you can see a much more stable fracture. Okay, I have to do this quick because this stuff does not last. 525, you can see there's a whole range of tones here, but 525, you're going to hear, the fluctuation there. There we go. Don't know where that is. I do. Is in Sedona, and it is a well-known vortex phenomenon. There's several of them there. and you are witnessing a gate, portal, wormhole, stargate, whatever you want to call it, from this bedroom to another state, using a mixture of two solid tones. That's it. There she is.
We've gone through plenty of times. This is no big deal to you, but to
Yeah.
me, this is like, this is amazing. I can't even fathom.
Light can't really get through. You're not going to feel anything, you're not going to smell anything until the surface is literally breached. The locale on that side will equalize with the locale on this side, and then you're good to go. You can kind of see like a glow happening, but again, you're not going to get anything more than that until you touch it. And once you do touch it and the surface is breached, this portal becomes self-sustained for like 2 hours.
Are you going to go through it?
Taking samples of this water. Unbelievable. It's so warm and fresh here. It's almost like it's just untainted. You can't see it because the clouds are covering it, but there are two suns right off there. One, and there's a lesser sun like right there. Feels like home. I think it's still Earth. It's Earth in a different time, maybe. There it is. Two suns. Crazy. Beautiful.
The CIA, which, from my perspective, the Germans on Sirius Colony, they said that they controlled the world through the intelligence organizations. That was their thing. We were picking up cargo at Diego Garcia, military cargo. We picked up, at one point, we modified an LCAC, a huge hovercraft. You know, if you're familiar with those, an LCAC.
I'm not familiar with the nomenclature, but I've seen
it's a troop transport hovercraft that the Marine Corps uses.
I've seen, yeah, right out here off the coast in San Diego.
So they modified one to be narrower. They cut like 10 feet out of the middle of it.
Sure.
They down the center, and they had to put it back together. It was a lot of work, so they would fit on our ship. So it would fit in our main cargo bay. We came and got one, and it was millions of dollars. And so we went back. There were several cargo loads, and there was a tab that was running. There were two American officers at Diego Garcia that were aware that they would bring cargo out to us, and we would load cargo on the ship and fly away in the middle of the night, on occasion, under appointment. One time, the cargo engineer from the main, the sea deck, well, the guy, he was the one that was supposed to go down the lift and sign for, there was a manifest that they gave us on a clipboard, like a piece of paper, the manifest, and there was a signature involved. So to say the cargo got delivered, basically, so that, to prove that the cargo didn't get stolen by somebody else on its way to the ship. One day he was sick, and or injured, or I forget exactly what happened to him, so they sent me down. And when they said, just sign it. I said, I don't have a signature. I had a number at the time. And they said, just make a mark. Just sign a squiggly line. It doesn't matter. Just sign it. It doesn't matter. No one cares. And this is an officer that I was unaware. I really didn't work with him that much. So he just told me this. I said, okay. And I was kind of scared. But I went down and did it. And the American officer said, look, you guys are getting a big tab. You're getting up to, you're up to like $2.5 million that you owe. You guys need to take care of this. They wanted me to remind you of that. You guys are your tab. So I said, okay, I'll let them know. And I went back up the lift, and we flew back to Sirius. The following morning, at the mission briefing for the next day, at the end of the, halfway through the mission, they said, does anybody have anything to add? And I raised my hand, and I said, they said we're getting behind and we owe them money. And he wanted me to let you guys know. And the entire flight crew, all the German people, cried laughing. They laughed, and they were crying laughing about that. Because they don't pay a dime, because it's the black budget. That's what I mean. They are other colonies. The CIA has its own space fleet, and they are trading with other colonies, and the goods that they take from the Earth to go and trade are covered under the black budget. In the book, Space Force, the official, so he's uncovered that. There's a story about it because they restructured the CIA in 2005. In the book, the official CIA budget is like $85 billion or $88 billion annually. What they found was when they restructured it, they got people together in the NRO office, and they got together with accounting because nobody knew how much money they had. And the number that the CIA is actually spending is $1.1 trillion a year, even though the military budget for the United States is only $700 billion. So the CIA, that only has 21,000 employees, is spending almost twice, a good deal, a third more, than all of the military, the United States, the most powerful military on Earth. All of that money yearly, the CIA is spending more of it because it's going into space, because they have their own space fleet. They have access to anti-grav. They've set up outposts throughout the solar system. They're trading with ETs, and that's where the money's going. And that's where we're at. So how do you include that into the report? That's the report. So we're seeing craft they go, well, they're us. We don't know if they're us or the military or whatever, but they are ETs. B, they are us. And you're seeing craft that do all different things, and they're the Germans.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first. There's your disclosure.
Well, we'll see how it plays out.
Well, the money is just insane.
Yeah, to get your head around what a company with 20,000 employees can do with $1.1 trillion, not just one time, but annually. That's annual. So 11 trillion in a decade, $11 trillion per decade. That this small organization that's only responsible for international intelligence, supposedly for Congress and for the military, has more money than most of the world.
Well, let's look at it this way. That you've got, what was this, the U.S. Navy on Diego Garcia requesting to be paid the $2 million or whatever it is. There's got to be something in the book somewhere that shows a deficit of $2 million or whatever it is. I'm
sure there's a creative accounting thing, but that's a black project. And years ago, when I first came out with my testimony, I talked about Diego Garcia. And the reason I always talk about how I remembered it, because we made a joke about the name of it on the ship. And when we were flying, we said, where's the next stop? We would make several stops. Where's the next stop? Because we're kind of overloaded with cargo. We said, we're going to Diego Garcia. Somebody would say, and we go, oh, you mean the American base with the Italian first name and the Spanish last name in the Indian Ocean? Yes. And then we would add on to that and go, yeah, we're going to go and we're going to pick up some Russian cargo off a Chinese boat at an American base with an Italian first name and a Spanish second name in the Indian Ocean for some Germans. And then guys were just building up. It went on and on and on. We did it. We got a laugh out of it. That's what we did.
Running gag.
Yeah, it was our gag because we were guys at work. That's what you do. But when I did that, somebody came forward on one of the videos and commented and said, call him bullshit, Tony. There's no way that we never had a curfew on Diego Garcia. I was stationed there for 4 years, and we never had a curfew in the 90s. We never had to be locked up. And I was told that while we were there, while our ship was there, everybody was locked into their, the staff, the people that were, the personnel that were stationed there. They were not able to leave their quarters. And this is like 3, 4 in the morning. He said, no, that never happened. Somebody commented. And then a few months later, somebody saw that and then there was actually an article that it's commonplace that Diego Garcia locks down in the middle of the night all the time, 3, 4 nights a week. And I forget what the article was. It was like Popular Mechanics or something. It was a pretty good source that said that. And I went and posted it back to that person in that thread, and I never got a comment back out of it. So it was a cover-up, is what I think it was. It was somebody trying to cover that up. But it was true. That is a factual circumstance that they do lock down Diego Garcia often.
It's about time that I talk to you about what's really going on. I've kind of been sworn to secrecy about this. There's a European group in the European continent who don't want to be public yet, but they have fitted a new type of receiver which breaks all the normal boundaries. They've fitted a type of transmitter and receiver to their radio telescopes which actually lets them communicate with extraterrestrial intelligence. They don't want to go public about it yet. The technology is out there. I've already mentioned the inventor's name, Gunther Nimitz. He demonstrated this quantum tunneling technology to a group of SETI people in Europe who said that they would give it a try to see if ET were actually using quantum tunneling technology rather than traditional electromagnetic radio frequencies that most of SETI are looking for.